Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I'm Shivangi Valke. I'm the founder of thrivewithmentoring.com. Thrive is an organization which is globally present and it matches mentors, younger emerging leaders with women mentors who are successful, capable women, and in a relationship, in a mentoring relationship, which can be transformational. And I'm joined here today by Ruma Batheja. Ruma is a Thrive mentor based in Delhi. Welcome, Ruma.
Thank you, Shivangi. It's my pleasure to be a part of Thrive and
Yes.
look forward for many years to be a part of your organization.
Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to have you on board. Ruma, before we begin into our topic today, for our viewers, can you just walk us a little bit through, a quick introduction for yourself and your background?
Okay, thank you. I started my career long back. It's about to be around 2 decades. And I began my career in the L&D space. I have been training a lot of people, double my age at that point of time. Then I
Right.
moved to the role of corporate HR. I have been into oil and gas, manufacturing, EPC organizations. I've worked with ExxonMobil. And currently I work for a research and analytics firm, which is the youngest of all organizations ever I've worked for.
Yeah.
And here I take care of their analytics part, learning and development part. I work with the clients. I do projects on restructuring. There's a lot of things which I'm doing right now. And the team is full of vibrant, young, passionate millennials, basically, I'm working for. And I've been fortunate to work from baby boomers to Gen X, Gen Y, millennials. And that also helped me remain grounded, be flexible, and I've done a lot of reverse mentoring for myself so that I can keep pace with this ever-changing dynamic world of today.
Definitely, definitely. And it's such a pleasure to have you also as a Thrive mentor, Ruma. And you said that you were very interested to join Thrive. The Thrive is a young organization. Feels like many years the amount of work that we are working, right? We are not even a year old yet. But tell me, Ruma, what attracted you, to become a part of Thrive, to be a Thrive mentor? And now, of course, you're also one of the chapter leading team in Delhi. What was your biggest attraction?
See, when I heard about Thrive, it was really, I was really curious to understand what is this all about. Because there has been a gap when we started a career. When we started a career, we learned in a very hard way. There were nobody to guide us apart from our bosses, our supervisors, our superiors, whatever you want, whichever nomenclature you want to give them. And when you used to come at home, you only had your family to support you, never understood what exactly is going on the other side of the coin. So we learned in a hard way, we fall down, we learn, we slowly and steadily, and then we moved up the ladder. One thing which has been always a missing link is how to cope up with a couple of stuff happening in the workplace. Forget about workplace, a lot of things which happen in a woman's life. How do you do that? So probably mentoring, coaching was not as a flowery term used at that point of time. We also didn't have any platform. Forget about online platform. We didn't have any offline platform at that point of time.
Sure.
So when I heard about Thrive, instantaneously some acronym came into my mind. T is for trusting someone. I wanted a trusting partner. So when I saw Thrive T, so it boomerang, like probably I can trust this platform. Then H is the hope part. It instilled the hope that probably I can also contribute back to the society what has been a missing element when I was a young person. Then when it comes to R of Thrive, it is role model. So it's basically a community of role model all together, trying and trying to make a difference to people around. And then comes the inspiration part, which is THRI, I for inspire, and then V for value, so that E we evolve. So it's a very nice way.
Amazing. Ruma, can I use that in advertising Thrive?
Absolutely.
Well, no, it's such a pleasure, and I think it's a real advantage for Thrive to also have you as supporting us with content, because I think you're naturally so creative. You just think of an acronym and think of all the qualities. I thank you very much for that. Today's topic for us, Ruma, is a very interesting one, and you chose the subject saying how to end the battle of sexes, and how do we work with unconscious bias. Now it's very interesting, and I have very specific examples around, how unconscious bias manifests itself in the part of the world that I live in. Being of Indian origin, but now living in Europe for almost 20 years, 2 decades, I have seen it manifest itself in very interesting ways. I was working with an organization earlier today, and there was this, feedback given by the senior leaders to the organizations, and one of the feedback that was given was that there is not much representation of women in senior management, which is a known story. I mean, it's not very unusual. I think probably there are many more organizations falling into that definition than in the other, right? Unconscious bias, can you say from your point of view, in your reality back in India, given your wide corporate and now startup experience, how does it, what does it even mean? How does it manifest itself?
I can give all the viewers a very interesting recent example in top-notch organization named Google. So all of we know what is Google.
Yeah.
So if you remember, there was a case on gender diversity, gender discrimination, which popped up 2 years back of James Damore 10 pages memo, which
Yes.
spoke about women are more neurotic than men. Women have lower stress tolerance than men, and there are many more other related reasons why women leaders are not available in the market. And we know what was the result of it, that everybody had to pitch in, come and give a lot of media hype was created around it. So basically it is there, an unconscious feeling in all of us that probably there is a difference between both the sexes. And that's what I tell, that it's time for us to abandon the sex. Why? Because it's not about gender equality. Basically, it is about gender neutrality. Why do we need to prove who is better than whom? And believe me, because of all these unconscious biases, only 6% of Fortune 500 CEOs are women.
Of course.
It's a dismal figure. If you look at it, it's a dismal figure, because the positive and the brighter side of having a balanced diversity is we have 87% good decision making capability when we have diverse group. We have 21% profitability increase, which McKinsey says, not me, all the research papers say that, and 23 times higher cash flow of organization who really pays attention to their gender diversity per se. I'm not talking about other diversity like cultural issues and other stuff. It's only typical to gender diversity. So when we have so much brighter side, why do we look it in another way? That's basically a part of the unconscious biases, which is so deep rooted, ingrained in us since we are born. Forget about India. I think it is everywhere, because James is not an Indian. He is from a different place. And specifically, if you talk about India, China, yes, because of our cultural inheritance, we need to really strive to make a workplace where women are respected to that core. And probably platforms like Thrive and other community help us reduce those unconscious biases. And when we talk about reduction of unconscious biases, to be precise, we need to work on two levels. One is an individual level, one is an organizational level.
Definitely.
Individual level is what I will quickly run through the individual level part, that we need to first actually know what our biases are. So if I ask you, Shivangi,
how do we know our biases, Ruma? How is it possible for an individual, because it's our bias, so we are blind to it, right? How can we know our own biases?
So I'll give you an example from my own career. I had worked in an organization beforehand, which was dominated by male people because it was a tech organization. And I understand that in many tech organizations, we do not find the right balance. We do not find the right talent actually who can create new products, etc., etc. There are many technical reasons for it. But there was an unconscious level of thought process in the entire organization that if we hire a woman may not be able to sit late at night, do coding, may not be able to deliver at the right time, and hence we do not want more than 2% in a team of maybe 20. I don't understand from where does this percentage
numbers
People
come
comes
from.
into
And I
mind.
think that is the challenge, right? That it's not about what women in general would like or not like, from which I think the biases come, right? We generalize, right? Whereas there
Absolutely.
might be those, 10, 20, 50, whatever women who would be more than happy and who have the support, either of their spouses or of their parents or whoever they're living with, and the organization can also support that they can also work those hours, right? The other question, of course, organizationally to ask then is really working at those hours necessary if you're coding, and you don't have a client facing role like you might have, and clients are working at different timelines. But coming back to the individual level, become aware of our own biases. Actually, there are a couple of tests online, aren't they? There is one around, I think it's the Harvard implicit test, which allows us to see those biases ourselves, doesn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the first part. And then we need to start tracking our actions.
Yeah.
That are we really trying to bring the change to us, or it's just matter of going and speaking in the panel discussions or even giving a FB live about it. So it's more about whether we're tracking an actions on how do we remove, or I don't think we can ever remove it. We can obviously reduce that bias. So how do we reduce that? And then start mentoring, coaching yourself, your team, people around you, and see the benefit out of it when you have diverse opinion, when you have diversity, when you have female ratio as equal to the men ratio. There are researchers who are proving it is important. So I think that's one core element we need to start from the individual level. And from organization level, there are many which we can do. To begin with, the first step is we should start collecting data points on exactly what is the scenario, what is the pattern of inclusion and exclusion when it comes to diversity in the organization. That's something very important. Because again, unconsciously, we are not aware of exactly where we are standing in the organization perspective. So we need to understand that through analytics, through metrics, that tools, etc. Second step is that we need to get real about the change. We need to use tools. We need to set target. We need to create campaigns around gender diversity by sensitizing people about it.
Yeah.
So there are organizations like Facebook who uses diverse slate approach. As per diverse slate approach, you need to interview minimum one person in each role from an underrated section, so that you come to know about the probably these are unconscious biases. We feel those person are not suitable for this role, but on the other side, on the contrary part of it, you get better talent in that. So we are basically not able to think through in that line. So organizations have to be very creative in their approach. They can have
Do you feel that organizations already need, can do this internally? Is this something that you would recommend that organizations work with external bodies to, to work on that? Because I think sometimes when you are the fish in the water, you cannot really, see the water around you, right? That's where I think organizations like Thrive, help you in having these conversations, because something which is obvious when seen from the outside is not so obvious when you're inside the system.
absolutely bang on, and that's the first thing to start with in organization. Because internally, as you said, it is very difficult to actually identify that we are wrong somewhere.
Yeah.
That identification is important, and we need a third party who comes and gives you a fresh perspective of how to solve that.
Right.
So I think Thrive probably has a lot of scope in future in organizations to come.
Yes, probably. I mean, at the moment, we are, of course, focusing, much more on individuals, and a lot of people, always say, "Why is Thrive Women for Women?" And why not men? And are you not excluding? And I think that was not the idea at all. The idea was really to ensure that women mentors or women get an opportunity to be mentors, right? Because the system, both consciously, and we have spoken about unconscious bias today, I think unconsciously are keeping away women from becoming mentors, right? So I always tell also the mentees, doesn't mean that this woman mentor that you get from Thrive is your only mentor. Of course not. You should all have a board of mentors. What you get through Thrive is somebody who is very focused. And I don't know what happened. Suddenly, my picture has gone off screen. But you get somebody who's really focused on this particular aspect of women supporting women, and being in this part where I know that the kind of conversations that can happen when women come together are different as compared to the conversations that happen when we are in a mixed audience.
Very true.
Yeah. But you were saying organizations need to do that, need to look at, what is available, need to see, they need to compare themselves. What else, Ruma?
After comparing, they have to use these tools, these different groups, bring third party people like mentoring platforms into the picture and get set rolling, frankly speaking. And then we need to brand and create success stories and reward those stories. Why? Because then we are actually becoming an inspiration to drive this diversity agenda in the organization. That's very important. And it's not one time effort, it has to be reinforced again and again, time and again.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Ruma. This has been a very insightful conversation. I want to welcome all our, all the women around there, be you a mentor profile or a mentee profile. To come and register on thrivewithmentoring.com, you will have the opportunity to know, when Thrive will launch its next cohort in your city. What is planned for 2018 is a launch in Johannesburg, which is going to happen on 27th of October. And again, we have a brilliant panel of mentors lined up for you there. So I would recommend and highly encourage mentees to come and sign up on thrivewithmentoring.com. Ruma, one last piece of advice that you would like to give to our viewers.
One last piece of advice, whatever I would like to give to our viewers is that firstly, join Thrive. You will have a lot of learn from us. We'll reverse mentor each other. And ideate, keep ideating, be fearless, be persistent, and at the same time, keep your foot grounded. That's something very important, which we are forgetting in this day. So perseverance, persistence is all important. Humility, humbleness should go hand in hand. That's what I would want to say right now.
Thank you so much, Ruma. And I think all the qualities you mentioned, you exemplify a lot of them. You're persistent, you're hardworking, and your feet are so firmly grounded. So thank you, and thanks for being a part of Thrive. And we'll keep talking.
Pleasure being a part of Thrive. Thank you. See you.
Bye for now. Bye.
Bye.